Welcome back to End Times Prophecy News for the 2 p.m. report on April 17th, the day after Easter. Breaking news, more details on possible military action with North Korea, and it's big. President Trump is considering a kinetic military strike to take out North Korea's nuclear facilities, while other states that President Trump's preference is for China to take the lead on dealing with North Korea. From Zero Hedge. Following Sunday's failed medium-range missile test by Kim Jong-un, President Donald Trump has been evaluating his response options, and according to Bloomberg, which cited a person familiar with his thinking, is willing to consider ordering kinetic military action, including a sudden strike, to counteract North Korea's destabilizing actions in the region. However, before launching another offensive campaign, or war, as some would call it, Trump's preference is for China to take the lead on dealing with North Korea, according to the source, since they're the neighbor. While still afforded the luxury of time, Trump may be forced to decide soon how to respond. On its take on the ongoing North Korea crisis, the New York Times said in a front-page article that what is playing out, said Robert Litwack of Woodrow Wilson International Center for Scholars, is the Cuban Missile Crisis in slow motion, but the slow motion part appears to be speeding up. That said, Trump's reported strategy isn't a radical departure from long-standing U.S. policy. As Bloomberg writes, quote, he isn't particularly interested in toppling the regime of leader Kim Jong-un and isn't looking to force reunification of the two Koreas, the person said. He instead wants to push for their long-term cooperation. Furthermore, Trump's national security team had already thought through various scenarios that North Korea might take and how the U.S. would react. So when the medium-range missile test failed right after launch early Sunday morning local time, Trump was informed immediately and decided to downplay it. According to the person, it was Trump's decision that the administration's initial response would come from Defense Secretary James Mattis, who issued a 22-word statement Saturday night. This was followed by National Security Advisor General H.R. McMaster, who used familiar language Sunday to describe North Korea's provocative and destabilizing and threatening behavior, while leaving all options on the table as his team helps develop plans of action for the region. In a previously reported interview on Sunday on ABC's This Week, McMaster said Trump had directed the National Security Council to collaborate with the Defense and State Departments and intelligence agencies to, quote, provide options and have them ready for him if this pattern of destabilizing behavior continues. Hours after the failed test, McMaster emphasized Trump's preference, as with this month's airstrikes in Syria, for unannounced military action. He added that the North Korean leader's unpredictability complicated U.S. strategy. Next up, for the lighter side, Donald Trump Jr. wears comical T-shirt and the internet goes mad. Very fake news. Looking good as usual. Donald Trump Jr. Must be nice to be out there with in a pool next to wherever you are there. Looks like maybe Mar-a-Lago, I don't know. I'm going to have to buy 5,000 to 10,000 of these to pass around to our buddies in the mainstream media. In the meantime, I'll model it for them. President Trump just gave a big promotion. Great book for your reading enjoyment, Reasons to Vote for Democrats by Michael J. Knowles. And it is a New York Times bestseller. That's right. Reasons to Vote for Democrats is a blank book and is Amazon's bestseller. Okay, I lied a little. It's not a New York Times bestseller. Neither is it probably Amazon's bestseller either. I don't know. That's what it says, but now number one on Amazon's bestseller list. I doubt that. By Ben Shapiro. DHS Secretary lists 3 biggest problems and they are bad. Secretary John Kelly has lifted off the 3 biggest problems for the Department of Homeland Security. And from the Washington Examiner, Homeland Security Secretary John Kelly cited border security, defeating transnational crime rings, and domestic terrorist attacks as the three biggest problems facing his department during an interview on NBC's Meet the Press on Sunday. Quote, I think really the biggest challenge is day in and day out, and it's a 24/7 thing, Kelly told host Chuck Todd. Quote, protecting, securing the southern border certainly is very important, but just protecting your nation from transnational criminal organizations that are largely resident in the United States but have tentacles outside the country. And then the terrorist threat, a potential terrorist threat, whether it's homegrown or from overseas. And just in, the Facebook changes story about Facebook Live killer. Look what they are saying now. Well, they are now saying the murder was not a broadcast live, but rather than it was uploaded. Okay. Big deal. So they're wrong as usual. While details on surprise Mike Pence visit to DMZ released, and they're big, Mike Pence visited then DMZ on an unannounced trip, saying the era of strategic patience is over, referring to North Korea from Zero Hedge. In the midst of a 10-day Asia trip, Vice President Mike Pence made an unannounced visit to the 4-kilometer-wide, heavily mined, demilitarized zone separating the two Koreas, where he met with troops, encouraged China to take action against North Korea, and warned Pyongyang that after years of testing the U.S. and South Korea with its nuclear ambitions, the era of strategic patience is over. As the brown bomber jacket-clad vice president was briefed near the military demarcation line, two North Korean soldiers watched from a short distance, one taking multiple photographs of the American visitor, according to Associated Press. Pence said he was heartened by early signs from China and hoped its leaders would use the extraordinary levers they have to prod Kim into giving up his nuclear weapons and ballistic missiles. He repeated President Donald Trump's warning that the U.S. would act without China if necessary. Quote, either China will deal with this problem of the United States and its allies will. Pence said on Monday, we want to see change. We want to see North Korea abandon its reckless path. President Trump has made it clear that the patience of the United States and our allies in this region has run out, and we want to see change, Pence told reporters. Quote, we want to see North Korea abandon its reckless path of development of nuclear weapons, and also its continued use of testing of ballistic missiles is unacceptable. Pence praised the historic ironclad alliance between the U.S. and South Korea, not ruling out a military solution of the Korean standoff. All options are on the table to achieve the objectives and ensure the stability of the people of this country, said Pence, while adding that Trump would not discuss specific military tactics. He said the relationship with South Korea is ironclad and immutable, and reiterated the resolve of the people of the United States and the President of the United States to achieve security through peaceable means, through negotiations. But all options are on the table as we continue to stand shoulder to shoulder with the people of South Korea for denuclearization of this peninsula, for the long-term prosperity and freedom of the people of South Korea, he added. He said he had hopes would help solve the problem, adding, we look for them to do more. The message of the people of the United States of America is that we seek peace, but America has always sought peace through strength. As for a message to the people of North Korea, Pence said, the people of North Korea, the military of North Korea, should not mistake the resolve of the United States of America to stand with her allies. The alliance between South Korea and the United States is ironclad. That will be all for this report. Look forward to you at the next report on the hour. God bless you.
If my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven and will forgive their